Tupac Shakur, the legend. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome back to Junior's Music Corner, or welcome if this is your first time. The other day, I put up a poll in my community section to choose your favorite Tupac album out of the 4 albums that were released while he was alive. To everyone that participated, thank you. The poll went kind of how I figured it would, but let's get into it. All right, at number 1, All Eyez On Me, of course. This is Tupac's most popular album. This album was released February 13th, 1996. Double album. Great album, can't complain. Production was top notch. Pac was letting the world have it on this album. Not my favorite. This is not the album I chose, but I love this album. So let's talk about it right quick. Ambitions as a Rider, classic. All About You, Scandalous with Nate Dogg, classic. Got My Mind Made Up. Got My Mind Made Up I was late onto that song. When this album first came out, I was in high school and everybody had the album. But this was actually a song that I would skip. What? Until one day, a guy in my class, him and this other guy, they rapping this verse, and I'm like, like, what y'all rapping? And they were rapping Method Man's verse off of that song. So it was actually, excuse me, Method Man's verse, which made me go listen to that song.
Word out, you know?
And it was dope. How Do You Want It? Classic with Casey and JoJo. 2 of America's Most Wanted. Not my particularly favorite song. The theme of it was great. I didn't like the sound of it. I didn't care for the beat. But you know, classic song. 2 of America's Most Wanted. Tupac, Snoop Dogg. No More Pain. Devontae on the beat. Classic. Hearts of Men. DJ Quick track. Dope. Life Goes On. Loved it. Only God Can Judge Me. Classic with Forte. Trading War Stories. Dope. California Love. Dope. I Ain't Mad at You. Dope. What's Your Phone Number? With the time sample. Dope. A lot of people hated on that song. That was a dope song. Can't See Me with George Clinton. Dope. If you listen to that song, it's a super dope song. Shorty Wanna Be a Thug. Dope. Holla At Me. Star Trek, yo. Wonder Why They Call You B. Dope with Faith. Controversy. When We Ride. Thug Passion. Classic. Picture Me Rolling. Picture Me Rolling is like my favorite track off this album. The lyrics are dope, but that beat, put that on, yo. Like, I'm riding. Like, that's it. Checkout Time, dope. Rather Be In. Of course. All Eyez On Me, dope. Run the Streets Ain't Hard to Find, and Heaven Ain't Hard to Find. Yeah, there's no complaints with this album. Production is top notch. Pac is at the top of his game. Classic album. And there's not too much to say about this, but the reason why I say this is not my favorite Tupac album is because, first off, it's not. It's a great album, great piece of work, but to me, Tupac had traveled so far from himself, I say. And I know people grow and people change, but I don't know. I think had he lived, we would have got much better work than this. And I know there's posthumous albums, but Pac didn't have a hand in those releases, you know? Anyway, let's move on. This was number one. And this album came in at a whopping 73% of people chose this as their favorite Tupac album. There was a comment in the section where it said a lot of people are going to choose All Eyez On Me because they were basically late to the party. And a lot of people got introduced to Pac with All Eyez On Me, and that's their favorite joint. It's the most commercial Tupac album. It's his most popular album. It was a huge album when it came out, and still is. But there's others. So let's move on. All right, coming in at number 2 with 14% of the votes, Me Against the World. Again, another classic album. Let me see. Me Against the World dropped March 14th, 1995. Pac's going through things. This was a great album. When Dear Mama came out, it was different. It was different. It was something that the culture needed, that people needed. It was good. It was really good. I remember when that song, when it came out, it was everywhere. Like, you know, burn CDs and bootlegs was popping, so you walk around the flea market and all you heard was Dear Mama. You know?
Dear Mama went #1, thank everybody, platinum, thank you. I went double platinum, thank you.
Anyway, love this album. Not my favorite, not the album I chose, but let's get into it. Intro with all the news clippings and all. If I Die Tonight, incredible track, powerful track. Dope. Me Against the World featuring Dramacidal, which was eventually became the Outlaws. That song was also featured on the Bad Boys soundtrack. So Many Tears, classic. I even did a short on So Many Tears. Temptations, dope. Easy Mo B. Young Niggas, dope. Heavy in the Game with Richie Rich, dope. Like I say, there's no complaints with this album. Dear Mama, of course. It Ain't Easy. Can You Get Away? That was different. Can You Get Away? Like, that was good. The Old School with Pac, showing love to hip hop and showing love to New York. F the World, good one. Death Around the Corner, which was a deep one. And Outlaw with Dramacidal before they came to Outlaws. Classic album. I remember when it came out. Loved it. Again, with this album, Pac was going through. He was going through a lot. There's a lot of fear in this album. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in this album. It was necessary. I believe this was a weight off his shoulders. You know, this is right before he goes to jail for the assault case in New York, which, like a million others, we would never believe that was true.
It was all bullshit.
You know, spill milk now. But classic album. Love this album. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, coming in third place with 8% of the votes, we've got Tupacalypse Now. Tupac's debut album. This album dropped November 2nd, 1991. Fresh off of Digital Underground. I believe Juice had just came out not too long ago, and this was Pac's solo intro to the game. Dope work. This album doesn't get as much love as the other albums. Okay, yes, no. not my favorite. Okay, this is not the album I chose either, but I love this album. I can put this album on right now, and I'm satisfied. I'm happy with it. Pac was different. You know, I'm a digital fan, so Digital Underground. So I knew Pac. I was you know, on it with Pac from same song on to the Sons of the P album with the family song, and then good thing that we're rapping. You know, Tupac intros that song, tells you to put the kids to bed. Playtime is done. Playtime is over. This was a strong album. This album put fear in so many people, so many big people. Let's talk about the tracks. Young Black Male. Strong. Trapped. Soldier Story. One of my favorites. Soldier Story is kind of like Jonathan Jackson's story. Strong. That album got Pac in some hot water. I Don't Give a F. Violent. They claim that I'm violent. Words of Wisdom. Something Wicked. Crooked Ass. Nigga. If My Homie Calls. The Unforgettable Brenda's Got a Baby. The Lunatic. Dope album. Rebel of the Underground. I call the Lunatic an album. Great song. Rebel of the Underground. Dope. Part-Time Mother. Some serious tracks. But this was the album that Dan Quayle called him out on because Buddy in, I believe, Texas shot that trooper, and, you know, his lawyers try to use Tupac in their defense, like Tupac took over this boy mine or whatever. And Quayle was like, you know, nobody needs to hear this. Pull this off the shelf. This guy's bad news.
He's responding to a murder in Texas where a state trooper was killed by a man who says he may have been motivated to shoot by a song on the album Tapocalypse Now. Mr. Quayle wants the record taken off shelves.
Not to mention, like, people know the name Shakur, Pac's family, and the Panthers. They were no joke when it came to the Gov. And this album was an issue. So, like, I like this album. I love that Pac came in on that tip. He came in not on some gangster, but on some socio-political for black people stuff, you know? Dope albums before he cut his hair and all that. Dope album, Tupacalypse. Let's move on. All right. Coming in last place with 5% of the votes. Strictly for my niggas. This is my favorite Tupac project. Love this album. Let me see. This dropped February 16th, 1993. I was a jit, but I love this album. We had Holla If You Hear Me, first single. To this day. That's one of the hardest Rebel Revolution songs. A little while back when we were having when people were protesting and unrest and all that stuff, and they chose Changes. They chose Tupac Changes as kind of a banner song. I felt that was the wrong song. Holla If You Hear Me should have been played, you know? It's a serious song. Okay, but also on this song, anyway, let's get through the tracks. Track number 1, Holla If You Hear Me. Classic, forever. Pac's Thing, Interlude, Point the Finger. Pac's in this album, you know, he had done Tupacalypse, he had done Juice, he's working, but he's getting into drama. The world's kind of showing him its ass. And like I say, he had been called out by the vice president. Pac said that he was scared. Like the vice president calling your name out of
Withdraw this record. It has no place in our society.
out of all things going on in the world, you talking about a rapper with one album, you know? Something to Die For, interlude. Dope. What Pac say, his mom told him, like, if you can't find something to live for, you best find something to die for. He introduced the world to those that didn't know. I'm in the South. He introduced the world to Latasha Harlins. Maybe one day I may have found out about her, but I found out who that was through Tupac's rhymes. Well, through this album. Yusef Hawkins, New York. Never would have known about that case. Last words. Come on, man. You got Tupac, Ice-T, and Ice Cube on the same track. Where else you gonna get that? Like, never gonna happen again. Soldier's Revenge, which was kind of bucking at the system, bucking at Dan Quayle. You know, Soldier's Story was on Tupacalypse, and that's the song that got him in the hot water with the Gov. You know, that's the song that they say influenced the boy in Texas to shoot at the trooper.
He threw things at me. He said, take my shit up off the shelf. Now, if that ain't hitting me, what is? I'm talking about the vice president of the country you live in. You understand what I'm saying?
And he does Soldier's Revenge. Dope song. And it is like kind of bucking back, you know? Peep Game, Struggling with Stretch. Dope song. Guess Who's Back? Representing 93. I Got a Head, but ain't no screws in it with the Scarface sample. Dope. Keep Your Head Up. Classic. That's one of my daughter's favorite songs. Everybody loves that song. Strictly for My Niggas. Dope song. The Streets of Death Row. I Get Around. Classic. Papa Song with Mo Preem. Pac touched on a lot of things. You know, Papa Song is about the father not being there. And Five Deadly Venoms with Tretch. Apache and Live Squad. Dope. I think that had Pac stayed in this direction, a lot of things would have been different. He may, I don't know, he may, I don't know, I just feel I think Pac was more than just a rapper. We know that. We know he's actor, poet, blah, 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 but had Pac lived and matured past 25, when we were younger, you know, like in the hood, you're lucky, you're happy to see 18. And once you hit 18, you're lucky, you're happy to hit 21. Then after 21, it's Tupac and Biggie age. Can we get past 25? Which is ridiculous, you know? But I think he would have been so much more. And he had so much more work to do. Anyway, R.I.P. to the GOAT. Thank you to everyone that participated in the poll. Till next time. Peace.